Hey everybody, welcome. This is John Megacycle here. I wanted to start by showing you a tutorial I had for a melon farm. As is the norm for most tutorials, I believe you use the tutorial first, or the machine you're making, then you show how it works, and then you break it down for a build pattern if anyone else wanted to build it in their own structure. So today, I've got a at least a semi-automated. I gotta push the button so it's not fully automated. I have a fully automated melon farm, and what I've got here in the middle of my base is my little offering table. And what'll happen in a couple of seconds here, I should get quite a few significant melons just coming down here. And there we go. That was pretty fast. It'll come in two waves like that, and let's just take a quick look at what we got here. Stack plus 13, so 77 melon, not too shabby. That's for one push, and yeah, so this is how I've got it wired. The redstone torches actually go up and actually do the firing mechanism. So let's go on upstairs and see what that's all about. And here we are. It might look a bit cluttered and it might look like a bit much, but it works nicely. We'll break the whole thing down of what everything does, and then we'll show you how to build it. So fairly simply, you see first of all the water stream. This actually carries the melons down to a bit of a chute, and the chute goes down to the offering table a couple stories below. What I've done is I've lined this little loading area. I'm sure you can see, or maybe not. It's ice. Yeah, there you go. That's a better shot. It's ice, and then signs, and then the source water tile. So what happens is water flows in one direction because of the signs. And because it's sliding on ice, it doesn't stop right here. It just slides right past and then drops right down the chute. So that's how the items move after the actual watermelons have been processed. Here I've got a bit of a setup, and you can see there's a little bit of a loss with the process, but it's not significant. So what I've got here is I've got two stages of pistons. The first stage right here that I'm pointing at, these keep the dirt tiles in place so that the actual pumpkin stems can grow melon stems can grow the melons right off to the side. Then these pistons above, what they do is they actually break the melon, and then the actual melon slices fall down into a water channel underneath. Now I'm going to break this up a little bit here. Here's actually the water channel underneath, as I just explained, and with this signal pulled out, these pistons retract. So what should happen is in one motion, when you push the button, the pistons pull out, which leaves the melons floating, and then these pistons push down, which crushes the melons. So here, I'm going to go back a little bit here, and I'm going to hit the button, or by hit the button, I mean take out the redstone. Since the button would actually run this trigger through, I'm going to emulate by hitting the button by removing the redstone. So actually, let's get a bit of a better view. Here we go. This is a nice side view. Ready? That's the push, and there's the half a second later. So it's fairly straightforward, and I've got two rows of this. So there's one row here, and I've got one row over here. Same setup. Again, this is broken down into two sections. This part right here powers these center pistons, which keeps them extended, and inversely, there's an inverter here that keeps these top ones unpowered until that brief second where the melons need to be destroyed. Now, if we had some melons that grew pretty quickly, this would be a nice demonstration. Of course, if I stop falling as well. But what we could do is we're going to go to my creative world, and I'm going to show you how to build this thing, and then we'll come back and we'll see it as it is. I'll just put some melons down for demonstration, and then we'll just go from there. So I'm going to head over to my creative world, and I will be right back. So when I was working with the idea, I had a few methods to actually get the pumpkins to where I wanted them. Pumpkins again, I mean melons. Goodness, you can use this for both. But I had a few melon ideas. This was simple piston setup. Hit the button, the lever in this case, comes down, and then there'd be a quick walking platform. You would actually go and walk and get all of your melon slices, which is nice, but it's not efficient. There's no water, and I've got to go collect everything. Actually, I take that back. It is efficient because I don't lose any melon. You just have to go manually get it, which stinks. Second idea I had was something with the water, but I wasn't sure how I wanted the pistons to work, and this is all it turned into. Hooray. This third idea I was working with, this is what kind of got me to where I wanted to be. As you can see right now, it's already in its resting state. The bottom pistons are on. This left side is the only side that works, so this right side can be disregarded. This left side here pushes the dirt out and keeps it out, which gives these pumpkin stems, doggone it, melon stems, plenty of time to grow. When they grow, the melons will sit right here, no problem. Then, in a swift motion, these are retracted, the melons float, these pistons push down, and break the melon. Again, we have some stragglers over here, but all in all, we still get the melon at the end. Again, here's our resting position. Then when we push the button, that's what happens. So we're just going to go ahead and build something real quick here. Just dash over here a little bit. Of course, we have our water source, and this is what we're really going to build off of, because this is how we want the actual melons to flow, and then this can just keep going all the way until we get to our central collection point. So if you have several of these and you wanted to build some sort of a very central collection point, now this is what I sort of have with my base. So let's just go ahead and get started. What we have is we've got sticky pistons with dirt, and then across the way we've got our melon stems. And because this is creative, I'm just going to go ahead and make them mature to prove the point. And there we go. Now, you might need to redo the red wiring or the redstone wiring apparatus depending on how you want this set up. But I found that on top is a fairly easy way to do this. Switch right here, extend, retract, very simple stuff. What we want for this one is we want it to be extended because that'll give the stalks a place to grow the melon, and we'll just leave it extended for now. The trick is, for the melons to grow, you cannot have a block above the stem like this, but you can have a block above the melon itself. It'll still grow, or where the melon will be. So this is a legal spot to put pistons or anything of that nature. You just can't put it over the stalk or it won't grow. That was a bit of a tough lesson, but the wiki helped me out with that quite well. So aside from that, once you've got this set up, and these have to be sticky because you need to retract. Get it? Cool. Now, what you can do, and this is something that I had to figure out, is when you do pull it back, it's not bent on gravity, so you have to actually move it. But once the actual melon gets moved, that's when it bursts open the melon bits, and I think I demonstrated that over there. So, we're going to go ahead and build the actual breaker. So let's see here. Because of orientation, we're going to do something like this, and I'm just going to go ahead and... Can I not grab that block? I guess I can't. Okay, here we go. So there we have our down push. Quite simple. And then, of course, however you might want to be able to do the redstone wiring on this one. If you can do it on top, you can even do it on the side. Any way to make it compact, you certainly can. But this one is very simple as well. Piece of cake. Okay? So this really is our two-push system that we had over there. And then all we really need to do is we need to combine it so one is off all the time and one is on all the time. And it is getting dark, so I'm going to be right back. I'm just going to kick it over today, and I'll see you in a second. And okay, there we go. Nice sunny day. What we're going to do is, since I demonstrated that one of these things needs to be on and the other needs to be off, and then vice versa, when this is off, this is on, what we're going to use is we're going to use an inverter. And let me demonstrate what that is. If you're familiar at all with redstone, you've got the redstone torch. Hey chicken. You have the redstone torch, and that provides power through redstone. Really simple stuff. This is how you power devices, such as a piston. Now, in the event that we want this signal inverted, or we want it off instead of on, you can build a very simple inverter. you may have noticed that the redstone torch just cut out. Now, redstone torches by themselves naturally produce a redstone signal, but because this is an on signal, this acts as an inverter and shuts this off. Now let me demonstrate what I mean by pulling away this torch. Now see, this side is lit? It's actually inverting the signal. So let's say we have one signal, like a lever. See how this stuff is off, and that stuff is on? Let me pull this a little closer here so you can see it. There you go. I hit the switch. This stuff is on, now that stuff is off. Now that's what's going to help us, because we could have one signal go this way that does one thing, and then another signal that does something else, but we only have to hit one lever. See? Excellent. Let's get this a little cleaned up. Let's try to put this to use. Here, we're going to want this one on, that one off. So what we're going to do is, we're going to bust this up a little bit, and we're going to bring the signals a little bit to a central point here. So at least they're a little easier to work with. Okay, so now we have our two signals, or at least our two paths that we need the signal to go. And let's just bridge this all down a little more. Okay. Now, let's put a switch here, a lever, so we can control which one is on or which one's off. If we're going to link these up, you can see both are on, and let's get a good view of that over here. And that does us no good. So, when the right is on, the left needs to be off. When the left is on, the right needs to be off. So, what we're going to do, exactly as I stated, rain, you're ruining my parade. We're going to put an inverter here, so this is on all the time. Then, we're going to connect the signal. Oops, hold on there. We're going to connect the signal to our lever again, and we're going to invert it. Now, as you can see, two paths, one source, two results. Now that I have the lever on, the bottom ones are extended. Actually, don't think I'm far enough. I think I pulled it a little too far back, so you know what we're going to do? We're going to add a repeater just to extend the signal. Redstone has its own length requirement, so this helps for this. It just repeats the signal again. For if it's on, it'll repeat an on. If it's an off, it'll repeat an off. Very simple. But anyway, back to our inverter here. Now that the right ones are on, left ones are off, I'm going to flip the switch, and the roles reversed. The right ones are off, the left ones are on. Now all I did was I replaced this with a button, which will give you similar result, but this is just a very simple way to explain it. You can make the wiring as compact, as complex as you want, or you can just do it as simple as this. Now it doesn't look very pretty, but it definitely gets the job done. So here is the Melon Farm. You can even do it on two sides, like I've got here. Let's just deactivate this guy. The idea of this is exactly the same. We're just going to put our water source here, dirt there, and then when this is activated, we have another platform that we can put more watermelon stems on. Now let's just go ahead and build that. And there you go. Now aside from that, I also showed another technique with the water flow. We're going to go ahead and get some ice blocks, and we're going to go ahead and get some signs. Sign. There we go. Now if you're unfamiliar with this idea, you should know that water only travels so far. And I'm just going to demonstrate that by building a little bit of a ravine here. Okay, that's more than sufficient. If I've got a bucket of water and I pour it out, it'll only go so many tiles. This is our source tile, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That 8th spot is where it falls out. See, the water doesn't flow any farther past this. If I break it back one more, though, the water will flow all over again for several more tiles. Like so. However, if you don't want to sacrifice the height, or if you've got a very confined spot and can't use too many blocks up or down, what you can use is you can put ice under the items. And I'm going to demonstrate that right now by, actually, let's put a few items in the stream. Okay, it's flowing like we'd expect, but it's pretty darn slow. When it reaches the end, it'll just sit there. if we put another bucket of water here, it's going to conflict with the other stream, and we don't want that. We want all the items to go in one direction. Let's just break that back up. If you put something like ice under the items, however, and we're going to replace all the blocks with ice, and let's just put a few back here. Now let's take a look. We got some redstone. Actually, let's get that guy as well. We have some redstone here. Much faster. And you'll notice the important part is it slides a little farther than the sign did. So what we're going to do, actually, is we're going to put a little more ice here. Let's fix this up a little bit. And I'll also show you what the signs are for right away, too. What the signs do is the signs block the flow of water. Look at that. It acts as a bit of a barrier. Where that'll help us is, remember when we put this other block of water here and it flowed backwards? We can put a sign right here and that'll keep the flow consistent. Now let's try our redstone again. Look at that. Slides right past, no problem. So this is a very important concept. Instead of dipping down or adding more water or becoming a mess, with a little bit of ice, you can greatly control how the water flows, how quickly your items get to where they're supposed to be, and you can pretty much keep a fairly efficient tunnel here. So any other items you want to bring into this stream, all you really have to do is add another sign, put in some ice, and then you can construct a different stream here that will add items to it. So let's just dump a few more things here. There's our redstone, slides past, right down, perfect. And now we have our central collection location. Right there. You want to put an altar or something? Anything. Bit of a table. Now every farm that you build, you can easily connect all the way to that one spot. And that'll keep everything nice and tidy. So now that I've explained that, let's go back to the overworld, back to our server, and let's see it again in action. So we're back here, and again I'm going to demonstrate how this works, and I'm just going to pop this little bit of redstone, which is emulating hitting a switch, or the button that we have downstairs. So if you can see on the right side, I'm just going to remove this. That interrupts the signal, and I'm going to put it back. And it resets just like that. So we're going to dash downstairs and see what we've got. And let's see, we got 49 melons out of that. Not too shabby. I probably had one in my inventory, so maybe 48. But once you got it all wired up and you like the way it looks, you can easily stockpile a lot of melons this way. You could do it with pumpkins, since the mechanics for those are the exact same. And it works out pretty nice. I brought all the redstone wiring down here to my central HQ. I wanted a bit of a control panel feel to it, so I can just hit this button, the pistons will move, I'll get my melons. So if you guys had any questions, feel free to put some comments in the video, and I will catch you next time. Thanks for watching.